Something happened in your company, a certain transformation you weren't quite aware of happening. The small code base you'd accepted to share with your team grew into a giant, complex being that seems to have a mind of its own. You have stressful and heated meetings with management. You're trying to find a compromise for that apparent sluggish rate of delivery you seem to experience across the entire team that is sharing this code base. So you start Googling around, and you read things like, do one thing and do it well. The continuous delivery software development process. Business-driven development and domain-driven design. Independently deployable services. Highly maintainable and testable. Loosely coupled. Yes, we're talking microservice. These are the terms you've been hearing for the last 10 years. You might have heard stories about how cool microservices are and how urgently you need to implement them. Or you might have heard stories about how some specific company tried to rewrite a monolithic app into microservices and how things got really bad. Microservices have been around for more than 10 years now. We are moving from the child era to the grown-up era. We know what works and what doesn't. This video will help you avoid common mistakes developers do when switching to a microservice design approach. And now, click the button below to follow me to get more great content. Back to microservice. Most developers in this situation make a simple yet crucial mistake. They focus on the code first. Approaching the desire for more knowledge around microservices and similar technologies can quickly mislead you when tackling it as a coding problem. Yes, it is for the most part led by software development motivations, but it's predominantly about culture, more so than just pure coding and design skills. Now imagine this. Your boss gives you the green light to try something new because everybody is desperate for change. A couple of days turn into a week into 2. You cut some corners, you reuse some tooling, you take advantage of some existing code. Your IDA is already set up if you use this and this from your old project. You have built scripts and QA hooked in if you make it like this again. And this fuels the temptation to get your hands dirty with your current project, despite its size. Surprisingly, this is actually a good plan, but only for someone experienced and well-versed with microservices. If you are new in microservice, it will almost certainly lead straight into an iceberg. Delays, breaking features, frustration. Pick 3. After a couple of weeks, you have something to show, but it's not different enough from the thing you wanted to get away from. You've invested some time and pain, but your capability to deliver features did not improve. Early on, you realize that this is going to take longer than you initially thought. Your pragmatism outshined your patience. You've created another monolith. Now you have 2. What you've realized is you'll need different tools, different techniques, and most importantly, a different attitude. To avoid going deep too soon, try this. Start your journey by isolating a new feature. You'll use it to familiarize yourself with how using microservice would look like on your team. It won't be perfect, and it won't teach you everything the first time, but it will give you the opportunity to quickly expose critical obstacles. Your team must find solutions for these obstacles to succeed in the future. Plan your schedule to be flexible enough to address obstacles as they arise, because they'll pay off tenfold as you grow. By far the biggest culprit in this transition is becoming overwhelmed unexpectedly. How you learn to walk will impact how far and how fast you'll run in the future projects. Here is a mind shift you need to tackle. You are now focusing on experiencing and sharing the journey of how to microservice, instead of just getting it done on your first draft. The number goal is to learn how to deliver in microservice. There are no cutting corners. To be efficient and confident in your execution, your first microservice swarm will require all skills and talents available on your team: front-end, back-end, SysDevOps, architects, UX, and QA. The more you'll try to make it your solo project, the more friction and resistance you'll encounter that will either slow you down or stop you completely. Make it a team effort and bring everyone into the fold. For some organizations, that will mean building bridges and relationships with people in departments you don't usually communicate with. Okay, so now you've learned your lesson. You got a team on your board. Management is optimistic and thrilled by your new display of leadership and enthusiasm. You create new instances for the microservices to manage your first swarm. You start wiring them into the existing UI, and things start to come together. But there's an ominous cloud lurking over your team as you hand it off to testing and QA. The architecture you copied from Netflix or your preferred industry role model makes sense in the production. But as you start running your tests, you need to set it up staging, pre-staging, you start adding load banners into the mix with domain names. You quickly realize that you weren't quite ready for this. Manual tasks that, even though being tedious, were doable by hand. But now you have to do that 5 to 10 times over multiple new servers and instances. Deployment and staging was one big slow process, but it got the job done. Now it is 10, and you find yourself needing more complexity in how you coordinate your new toys. Deployment, testing, and various artificial scenarios for the QA purposes are the areas most teams struggle with during this transition. A rich swarm of microservices, however small, will likely require a toolkit you're not familiar with using and building. This pain can be especially sharp if you're dealing with the various single repo, single project, single team, single deployment target external services. Services that remain simple and free of charge only at that granularity. Discovering modern ways of doing deployment, testing, and instance management will be necessary to some degree. You'll likely be required to work your magic on some creative solutions surrounding any in-house integrations or firmly rooted traditions. Your best starting point is relying on your existing sysadmins or DevOps team. The suggestions they make will have some impact on your overall architecture and design. Thankfully, modern tooling like Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, and so on, with the addition of auxiliary infrastructure tools, will make your life a lot easier. Creating and documenting this tooling step is essential. So let's summarize. The common mistakes when switching to microservices: treating the transition as if it was just another design problem. It's not just a coding problem, it's predominantly about culture, more so than just pure coding and design skills. Then starting with the code instead of the process. An established team will likely stumble for some time while relearning how to walk in a different manner. Focus on experiencing and sharing the journey of how to microservice instead of just getting it done on your first project. Then, underestimating cultural complexity. Your first project will require all skills and talents available to you on your team: front-end, back-end, SysDevOps, architects, UX, and QA. Implementing microservices is not a solo project. Then going deep with no tooling. Deployment, testing, and various artificial scenarios for QA purposes are the areas most teams struggle with during the transition. So if these are the mistakes, what is the right way to go? First, focus on the learning process. Then get a full commitment from your team. And you'll need a full stack skills on your team: front, back, ops, tooling, and the QA. Then start small, isolate a small feature, and focus on tooling and delivery. I would love to know how your microservice journey began. Was your journey different? And if you started now, what would you do differently? Comment below and share your insights. We are here to help each other. Bye!